Okay. Awesome. Amazing. Also, can people hear a beeping in the background? Someone set their car alarm off and it's been a trend this week. So let me know if y'all hear any background noise and I can try and move. And yes, Carol, the second class was made available on YouTube. Okay, awesome. Good, Claire. The second class is available on YouTube, and we'll send out an email after tonight's class, likely tomorrow. We'll include this recording and we'll also include the recordings for week 1 and week 2. But if you want to go look at it ahead of time, you can just go to the MOH YouTube account and there's actually a playlist for this class. And awesome, great. Thanks for being here, Nicole. And yeah, the sunshine's great. Where I am in the state, it was pouring earlier and then it was nice and sunny later. So sunshine's always great. But yeah, thanks everyone for being here. So this is the third class in our 4-week democracy series. And the first week, we kind of just did a general overview of what money in politics looks like in Pennsylvania, kind of connected money and politics to a lot of the lived struggles that every single one of us and so many people in our state experience. And the previous week, we talked about dark money in elections and stopping foreign influence corporations from political spending. If you are just joining tonight's class as your first class, that's totally fine. You don't need to have been to the other 2 classes to be at this class tonight, but we definitely encourage folks to go back and watch those 2 classes because there's lots of good information in there that helps kind of set the scene for why something as basic as a gift ban is incredibly difficult to pass in a state like Pennsylvania. But if we go to the next slide, so for folks who don't know March on Harrisburg, it's always good to just give a little refresher on who we are. So we've been fighting for 9 years, that should be 9 years, to make bribery illegal in Pennsylvania and just really build a democracy movement from the ground up that holds our state legislature accountable and that gets money out of politics and brings people back into the civic process. And we're very much nonpartisan, very much volunteer driven, and we're a statewide movement. And we have people all across our state. And so I just kind of went over this a little bit, but yeah, that first week was a general overview of kind of money in politics. Last week we talked, or not last week, this was a couple weeks ago. Last class we talked about kind of stopping secret spending in elections. We defined what is dark money, what does that look like, and then this week we're going to talk about the gift ban and kind of our 9-year-long fight to make bribery illegal in Pennsylvania. And then next week we'll be talking about campaign contributions and an alternative way to funding elections that some other municipalities are doing. So today we're going to go over, right, what is a gift ban, right? What exactly do we mean by a gift ban and why does it matter? And we're also going to connect the gift ban to, again, our lived struggles and experiences, right? Because this gift giving issue, which we'll talk about, it doesn't occur in a vacuum. It has very real effects on our lives, even though I think people in power a lot of times try to make it seem like something that's disconnected, something that doesn't really impact us, but it does. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. We're going to talk about kind of our history of March on Harrisburg's gift ban campaign in Pennsylvania. And then towards the end, we're going to dive into some more kind of concrete, tangible ways that you and your communities, your friends, family, neighbors can advocate for a gift ban in Pennsylvania. Because pushing this one across the finish line really is going to take a lot of people power and every single one of us being involved in the ways that we can. So the gift problem. So we go to the next slide. So we're going to start off before we get into the gift problem. We're going to start off with a mystica. And this is something that we do in our learnings as the Pennsylvania Poor People's Campaign, and I wanted to include it tonight too. So just to set up this mystica before we play it, this was from an action we did in the Capitol building at Senate President Jake Corman's office, and we were demanding that he bring the gift ban to a vote in the Senate. And I'll let Jeff play the video for us.
We stood inside in front of the Senate floor and told it to every single legislator there, every senator, and Jake Corman himself. We went to his office. We delivered every single gift ban bill since 1999. 33 bills. And tomorrow we'll be at his district to bring that message there.
The last person standing in the way of the gift ban is Senate President Jake Corman. What we're going to do right now is we're going to wait outside of his door until he has some time to talk to us.
I'm asking you to leave now and you'll be removed. If you do so, you'll be arrested.
It shouldn't take you 20 years to pass a simple bill.
Jeff, are you able to scroll back to the beginning of that video and just click on it really quick? And then
So we today,
I want to get to, yeah, pause right there. I just want to appreciate, I don't know if you can remove that preview at the bottom, Jeff, but I just want to appreciate Rachel Murphy is one of the founding members of MOH, made the banner that you see all across the Capitol steps there. And that takes a lot of work. It is not an easy skill. And she did that along with a few other people, did that freehand. So I just want to admire that because, yeah, we need good art and visuals in our movement. I know yesterday in the Pennsylvania Poor People's Campaign NVDA course, we talked about what's like good, bold visuals. I think this is a great example of that. It just never seen anything else like it done at the Capitol. And I want to appreciate that. It's something that, different news outlets still use this photo today. And this was back in 2021. So just wanted to shout out Rachel for that. We go to the next slide here. So we see a bunch of things on the right-hand screen here, right? Sports tickets and vacations and cars and concerts, Penn State box seats, right? All of these things are entirely legal in Pennsylvania. You can see at the left-hand screen there, even the Pittsburgh Symphony has to pay to play. They paid $15,000 to take two Pennsylvania lawmakers to Europe, two Pennsylvania lawmakers and their families. So yeah, very much an issue here in Pennsylvania. And if you go to the next slide here, so we're one of 3 states without a gift ban. 47 other states have figured out that there is some sort of need for a basic policy that says to legislators, hey, you cannot accept gifts from lobbyists or really rich people or billionaires, right? Very, very, very insane that Pennsylvania is one of 3 states without one. The other 2 states that do not have a gift ban are Mississippi and Delaware. Also want to add here too that 97% of gifts go unreported. We're going to talk a little bit about this later. But so, right, if you go back to that other slide, we see egregious gifts happening, right? Like, for example, the Senate president being taken to Europe, right? But this is one example, and the examples that we do see are just kind of the tip of that iceberg. There are many examples of gifts that we just don't see due to really crappy reporting laws. So you go back to that slide. So the gift ban right now would not move, and in the past 9 years would have not moved without the pressure that MarchOnHarrisburg has put behind. I mean, this is something that we push with full force every single session. We've been able to pass the gift ban out of state committee twice, so back in 2019 and 2021. And I will say, so the gift ban is something that legislators know they can't vote, against if it comes up to a vote, right? We know that with the gift ban, we have the votes. The issue is not whether we have the votes, but it's actually getting those bills to a vote, which we'll talk about later. But it's something that is very unanimously popular across the state. We've been in all different parts of the state, blue areas, red areas, and people across the political spectrum are very supportive of the gift ban, right? So the issue is not whether this would pass if it comes up to a vote. The issue is creating enough people pressure to push a few gatekeepers to pass it. So you go to the next slide here. So a gift ban that we're pushing for, right? It would forbid lobbyists from bribing our public officials while also providing for basic common sense exceptions, right? nobody cares about water bottles or like a little plaque that goes on the wall, right? We're talking about kind of these high baller gifts, right? We're talking about box seats at the Penn State game. We're talking about, you know, going to the Super Bowl on the lobbyist dime. We're talking about going to Europe on the lobbyist dime, right? We're not talking about it, like insignificant things like a bottle of water. I don't know if all of you remember Governor Tom Wolf. He did have a gift ban, and his was notoriously strict. We're not pushing it for anything like that. His gift ban was for the executive branch. We're not pushing for anything like that, right? We're pushing for a very basic common sense gift ban that gets rid of those sort of higher level gifts while also providing for common sense exceptions. I'll pass it to Lauren.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Lauren. I'm an intern with MarchOnHarrisburg. This is my second year here. So I'm going to talk about the receipts. So this is very public, a lot of this stuff. So if we want to go into the next slide, this is a national issue too. It's not just here in Pennsylvania. You know, in the news recently, we've seen President Trump take a $400 million gift from Qatar. And then the Supreme Court also does not have a gift ban. They can take whatever gifts they want. And if you've been following with Justice Thomas and others taking huge gifts over the years, this is very similar to how it is in Pennsylvania. You can take as many gifts as you want. They ask you to report it. Not all of them get reported. So we're going to play a little game. So this is going to be which of these gifts did a Pennsylvania lawmaker actually receive? So there's going to be a poll that's going to come up on your screen, and you can vote for which one you think is real. Jeff, if you want to pull that up, perfect. All right, question 1. Was it a set of kitchen knives from a local restaurant, a full set of golf clubs from a Harrisburg lobbying firm, a coffee maker, or a book about Pennsylvania history? Oh, wait, do I have to have everybody answer all of them, Andrea, before we check it? We can just answer all of them. The other one is a basket of produce, a set of wireless headphones, a 10-day trip to Europe, or a lawn service care or coupon. Question 4 here, a holiday gift basket, a gift card to a bookstore, Super Bowl tickets, or a vintage bottle of wine from a major law firm. And question 4, a subscription to a gardening magazine, a trip to a Wyoming rodeo with a weekend nature retreat, and a photography workshop. Go ahead and vote, and we'll see what the results are. Everybody, a few more seconds.
I can see the response.
Oh, you can see the responses. I couldn't.
Well, we can on our end, but let me see if I can make it so you can see it too, Lauren. But people are killing it. People know what the gifts are. Give it a few more seconds. I think most of us actually answered. I think the only few that haven't answered are Lauren, you, Jeff, and myself.
Okay, great. Should we end the poll then? All right, we're sharing the results. So yes, it was a full set of golf clubs from a Harrisburg lobbying firm. Just not something small, pretty big.
Can I say who that was really quick?
Yeah, please do.
That is Senate Majority Leader Pittman received a full set of golf clubs. I think they were valued at like over $3,000, something crazy like that. And it was received from somebody who's an insurance executive. But apparently they're friends, but the guy is an insurance executive. So yeah, those were those golf clubs. And I can link the article that talks about that in the chat.
Yes, and spoiler alert to the next one, we'd already talked about it earlier. A 10-day trip to Europe, the Symphony took them on a 10-day trip, took 2 legislators on a 10-day trip to Europe, as Andrea already mentioned. Everybody got Super Bowl tickets. Well, not everybody got them, but everybody was correct. We got 100%. Yes, Josh Shapiro received Super Bowl tickets from Team PA twice. Yes, twice. Received 2 sets of Super Bowl tickets 2 years in a row of from Team PA, which is a dark money group. You want to talk more?
Yeah, and also so did Bradford and McClinton and a few
Right.
other legislators as well this past year.
Yes. And then question 4, yes, a trip to a Wyoming rodeo, all expenses paid, all kinds of gambling. Andrea, do you want to talk more about that one? I feel like that's a crazy one.
Yeah, the gambling companies paid a bunch of legislators to go to the rodeo in Wyoming.
Yes.
I can link to the article
Perfect.
that talks about that too in the chat.
All right. Well, as you can see, these are some pretty crazy gifts that our lawmakers are getting. So we can move on to the next one here.
And I want to just say one other thing too, is that it's possible legislators have gotten these other examples as gifts, but we just don't know about it because of what's on the screen. Anyway, sorry, Lauren, I'll let you keep going.
Yes, go ahead. So this is just a small percentage that we actually can know about. Lawmakers only report receiving $40,000 to $150,000 in gifts, but then lobbyists report giving $1.5 million in gifts. So it's really unclear what is reported and unknown that we're not going to know about and probably will never know about because 97% of gifts go unreported every year. So leadership, these are the 4 most important people to passing any sort of bill. They have the most power and they control which legislation passes through Harrisburg or dies there. These are the House Majority Leader, the Speaker of the House, the Senate Majority Leader, and the Senate President. These are the folks with the most power, and they are deciding that the gift ban is not worth passing right now. So our job is to fix that. The leaders are getting the best and the biggest gifts. Like, this is not surprising to anybody. Kim Ward, you can see, had the most, but then going through here, we can see this is from Stephen Caruso from Spotlight PA. As you can see on your screen here, a lot of big ticket special interests donating. Like Jeff Yass probably is the biggest donor there in the K through 12 education section.
And I want to just add too, right? Because there's really the thing on the right is, I think, campaign contributions, but I also want to add to that, right? Gifts work in tandem with other forms of political corruption, right? Like unlimited amounts of campaign contributions flowing through our state. But I also want to add to, right? It makes sense why the ruling class, right, really rich people, specifically give better and bigger gifts to these 4 people, because these are the 4 legislators that decide what bills actually go on the calendar, right? They decide which bills move forward or don't move forward, like Lauren was saying. And so, you know, really rich people, right? Comcast knows that in order to get the policy they want or to kill other bills that would threaten their power, right, they need to give the top lawmakers the best gifts and the biggest gifts. So there's kind of this interesting dynamic between leaders in Harrisburg and then rank and file legislators, where there's a lot of legislators that are not getting these kinds of gifts, right? It's really concentrated amongst really, really powerful legislators. And it's really these 4 people. They're the ones that can hold up or move any bill forward.
Absolutely. And so then this is a huge problem, but this is a winnable fight. Andrea, did you want to talk?
Yeah, someone in the chat asked who the 4 people are again. If we want to go back to that slide really quickly, we can just name them, the folks again. So in the House side, we have House Majority Leader Matt Bradford. He is in Montgomery County. Then we have Speaker of the House Joanna McClinton. She's in Philly. Then we have on the Senate side, Senate Majority Leader Joe Pittman, and then Senate President Kim Ward. These are the most powerful people in the state. And you'll notice it's, you know, corruption is a bipartisan issue, right? leaders in the House, they're Democrats, leaders in the Senate, they're Republicans. So we're seeing this protection of corruption happening from both sides of the aisle. I do want to name that because it is important. It's very much a bipartisan issue. Sorry, Lauren, keep going.
Go ahead. So like I said, this is a winnable issue, and these are the steps that we're taking, and that we'd love everybody to join in with us in. So democracy is not something we have, it's something that we do. This is something that we practice every day at MarchOnHarrisburg, as you'll see from these next slides. So lobbying for the gift ban. This is something that you can do virtually in district or in Harrisburg. Lobbying is just a fancy name that we attach to this. Truly anybody can do it. If you can convince your kid to put their shoes on in the morning, if you can sell a drink at the bar, if you can convince your coworkers that your idea is worth trying for a project, you can lobby for the gift ban or for anything else for that matter. So you can take these meetings anywhere, close to your house if you're a constituent and you're in somebody's district, virtually. A lot of our meetings are on Teams or Zoom. And then in Harrisburg as well, if you want to go into the Capitol, that's where you can find them. So one of the ways to be a part of this is to be a part of the scheduling team. And scheduling team can also help you set up a meeting. If that's something that you don't really feel like doing, you can just let us know who you would want to or be willing to meet with. And we're happy to help you set up that time. And then the legislative team can lead and attend any meeting with you. These are the folks who know the policy the best. This is a team that you're welcome to join. We meet on Fridays at noon. And then also asking your friends, your family, your community to come lobby locally with you and with us, you know, as a group here. This is something that we really enjoy.
I also am going to put in the chat here a link to our gift ban campaign page. And on there, if you scroll down, there's a map. And on that map, you can see if your legislator has either signed a pledge just saying, yes, I pledge to support a gift ban and move it forward this session, slash, you know, and or they co-sponsored a gift ban bill this session. There's 2 gift ban bills in the House. There's 1 in the Senate. Our approach this session is at the end of the day, there's 4 people who are going to hammer out the details behind closed doors, as they do with the budget, as they do with any bills in the state legislature. And so we're just pushing forward the concept. We just want them to pass a gift ban because right now there is just nothing. So you can see on this map here, it's a great visual. You can go in and scroll in your area, and you can go and see whether your state legislator, state senator has agreed to pass the gift ban and to make bribery illegal. And if people want one of us to look up, you know, who your state legislator is, we're happy to do that for you as well. One other thing about lobbying too, if we go back, so we also ask that folks not just lobby their own state legislator, right? But we take the approach of Comcast doesn't, you know, Comcast goes into any office they want in Harrisburg and they get a meeting and they're not a constituent. And so we take that same approach, right? We deserve to be meeting with not just our legislator, but other legislators too. So we encourage people as well, you know, once you go and meet with your state representative and your state senator, like we also encourage people to meet with other legislators too. That is something that we do at MarchOnHarrisburg. We don't take that approach that we have to be a constituent in order to go to a meeting.
Exactly. Thank you for that reminder. So these are some ways that you can take action. You can write a letter to your local paper. We have a thriving letters to the editor team. We'd love to bring you into that and help you write a letter to your local paper or do it yourself. We also flyer and billboard, so stand out on the side of the road and hold signs. This is actually super effective. Our web traffic goes up so much after those events. This is something that you can do in your local community, and it really helps get people engaged and educate people. You can also engage in nonviolent direct action. So those are, you know, all of the things that, have we talked about this in the series yet? I've forgotten what class we're on here. But so going in and doing a sit-in in an office, doing a protest, you know, anything that forces a confrontation with those in power. And you can also comment on members of leadership's social media posts. Show them that you care, because this is something that they can sweep under the rug and sweep under the rug and sweep under the rug. But ultimately, if they're getting comments on all of their social media saying, hey, why aren't you passing a gift ban? That's something that actually matters to them. And then also you can donate, you can organize a local fundraising drive. These are all things that are very helpful to MarchOnHarrisburg and to passing the gift ban.
I want to just add one thing too, and this sounds really simple, but we would love for people here to just talk to like their family members or their friends about the gift ban. I know like my friend group personally, they did not know that this sort of gift giving was legal. Like they figured, oh, it's happening, but they didn't know that it was actually legal. My friends were super surprised by that. And so just go talk to your like family or your friends or whoever's kind of in your community and just say, hey, did you know that this is even a thing? Because a lot of people just, they don't know that it's even something that's a problem here in Pennsylvania, right? 47 other states have a common sense gift ban law. So you'd think Pennsylvania would too, but we don't. So I ask that everyone tonight, like go and have a conversation, text one of your friends, have a phone call with one of your family members. Next time you see your neighbor when you're walking your dog, like strike up a conversation about it, because it's something as simple as that that can sort of generate enough people power, which is really what we need to push this across the finish line. I cannot stress enough how much they want to keep their gifts. We're dealing with an incredibly corrupt state legislature, right? Pennsylvania, we're bottom of the barrel when it comes to a lot of money in politics and ethics issues. And legislators like the lifestyle, especially those legislators that are higher up. They don't want to give up, the 5-star steakhouse, dinners. They don't want to give up being able to go to the Super Bowl and not pay what it costs to go to the Super Bowl, right? Like they like the lifestyle, and there's a selfishness going on, and it's wrong, right? It's wrong that somebody like Jeff Yass can go and take the Senate Majority Leader out to lunch, right? And that's just part of everyday life in Harrisburg. And so again, like just having a simple conversation with your friends and your family, posting stuff on social media, taking time to call your legislator's office or leadership's office, all of these things seem like small, insignificant tasks, right? But they're really important and meaningful in order to actually win this. Yeah, sorry for the tangent. I cannot stress enough how effective a small conversation is. And then, yeah, ways to take action. Again, these 4 people have the most power. They are the ones, as we know it, that are saying, do not pass the gift ban, do not move it forward, right? They're certainly not going and, publicly stating how we need a gift ban, right? And so we need every single person here to call them. It's something super simple, easy, you can do in a couple minutes, and calling each leadership's office would be super helpful. And we have on our gift ban website page, which I'll put in the chat, like a super simple script that people can use as just a sample for how to talk to leaders. Put it in the chat now. I encourage people to oh, awesome, Nicole. Yeah, it is super helpful to have those examples. I will say I encourage people to look at our gift ban toolkit page, and specifically our gift ban toolkit. There's a lot of concrete examples on there, that some of which we touched on tonight, which you could reference, right, if you wanted to when talking on the phone. I just linked that Google Doc in the chat too. But yeah, some of those big ones that I personally like to mention, I always mention the Pittsburgh Symphony, and I always just mention the fact that it's crazy that even the arts have to pay to play, right? That's really sad. Wyoming and the rodeo, and we'll make sure to send in our email tomorrow just some links to articles for further reading for people. But yeah, if people could call these 4 leaders, that's definitely a huge lift for the campaign. So course outline. So that's really the gift ban in a nutshell. Obviously we could go on about the gift ban for much longer. But yeah, that's the gift ban. We're happy to take time at the end of tonight too, to just talk through questions or if people want to know more info about any of the things that we covered. But next week, we're going to be talking about this issue of campaign contributions. We're going to talk about, right, how this sort of unlimited spending influences our governance in Pennsylvania, and how that creates a system, right, where politicians listen to money and not people. But we're also going to talk about a better way to do things, which is something that Seattle is doing. It's called democracy dollars. And it's a really cool system where I'll give a sneak peek. Every citizen in Seattle can choose to get 4 $25 vouchers, and then they can use that to give it to a candidate of their choice. So we're going to talk more about that too. I'm very excited for next week's class. It's going to be a hopeful class because it's cool to see other cities that are doing things the right way and just leading in terms of the democracy front. But so that's the outline for next week. And if we go to the next slide, I just have this quote here because it's something that's been coming a lot in like one-on-ones I have with people, where people, think I need to have some sort of kind of skill set in order to organize for something like the gift ban or any of our other campaigns to fight back against a lot of the injustice that's happening. And there's this really great quote by organizer Willie Baptist, who wrote, "It's not enough to be angry." But basically says, learn as we lead, walk as we talk, teach as we fight. Everything I've learned how to do when it comes to organizing, I learned through March on Harrisburg, quite honestly. And so just want to shout that out because I did not know how to talk. I didn't know much about the gift ban, quite honestly, for March on Harrisburg. That wasn't my focus when I was a student. I didn't know how to write a press release. I didn't know how to make a TikTok video. I didn't know how to use something called Action Network, right? So the movement is a great place to become leaders, and we learn as we lead, right? And we grow constantly, and we dive in even if we don't fully understand something. We're always learning. And so I just want to emphasize, like, if you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, I might not know how to do that, or I don't know enough about the gift ban, I don't know enough about the issue. Yes, you do. And all that matters is you give a damn, quite honestly. That is the most important thing, and just showing up. So just want to emphasize that. Sorry for going on a rant, but wanted to include that in here to just, yes, exactly, Nicole, building leaders through organizing. Exactly. Now we go to the next slide here. This is not exactly gift ban related, but I want to shout this out because I think it'll leave us on a more hopeful note. And it also shows kind of the spectrum of intensity of March on Harrisburg, how we work. Pause that, Jeff. Thanks. But this is from back in September of 2024. We marched from Lancaster to Harrisburg for a huge dark money bill, a secret spending bill that we were able to pass through the full House. And it was due to pressure that we actually generated from our gift ban campaign. We were able to negotiate with House leadership. They did not want to pass the gift ban. So we said, okay, what's something bigger that we can push forward? And this bill takes a huge chunk of spending and takes out of our elections. And so this was something that we were able to push forward through the full House. And it was because of the pressure of the gift ban campaign. So I want to include that to show that, like, our campaigns are not isolated. They work together with each other, right? We push really hard with the gift ban. And when we do so, we're also able to open up other things and work through the legislature with other things. And we also got coverage from ABC Australia. They did a really great series that basically dives into what is wrong with American politics, what is going on. And we were featured in the last episode in that series. So here's the video.
Hey, ho, ho. Dark money has got to go.
A few miles away, in the outskirts of Harrisburg,
Dark money has got to go. Hey, hey.
a long walk with the goal of reducing the role of dark money in politics. This group's on the final leg of a 3-day march across Pennsylvania. They started in the city of Lancaster. They're heading toward the state capital of Harrisburg.
I think the last shower I took was Thursday night, so it's Sunday now, and yeah, it's been a minute since I've gotten a shower.
Definitely feeling the blisters trying to, make their way through, but we're holding them at bay.
They've taken their message to the streets, and now they're closing in on the state capitol building. So the question is, will Pennsylvania's lawmakers take up the call?
And we're here to pass House Bill 2433, which we already passed through the State House back in July, and we're here to push it through the Senate and into law. And that bill says that if you are a multinational corporation, which is 98% of the S&P 500, all of the big players, Amazon, Uber, Aqua, all of them, that you would not be able to spend money influencing our elections.
Do you think the bill will pass?
I believe that we will win. Always, always. I believe it was a Mike Tyson quote, delusions aren't delusional once you win. We have public support. But at the end of the day, public support only goes so far in a very corrupt, very authoritarian structure like the Pennsylvania state legislature. And so we need to force the encounter with the gatekeepers, with the people in charge, and get them to do the right thing.
The day after their march, the group holds a rally at the Pennsylvania State House.
We will not continue to be ignored and silenced and forced to grovel. We are here.
We're on the march for democracy.
A march that continued through the state capitol, up the stairs, and into the office of the Senate President.
We would love to sit down with the Senate President or the Chief of Staff.
They don't get that, but while the rest of the group wait outside under the watch of Capitol security, a delegation meets with the President's staff. Eventually,
we had a good, productive conversation. They asked questions, we gave answers, we discussed the contents of the bill. We have a reputation in this building. We've been doing this for 7 years. We can be seen as an annoyance that's best to deal with.
So just to be clear, you have a commitment from the Senate President. They are on board with this. They will put it to the floor.
We do not have a commitment that this will run on the floor. We have a commitment that this will, that we will move forward in the negotiations.
Even if they win here, it'll be tinkering at the edges of what they see as a much bigger problem.
We do not believe that corporations are people, and we do not believe that money is speech.
Woo! Oh, I love that coverage. I really recommend this series to anyone who has not seen it. I'll definitely make sure to include it in the email that goes out tomorrow. Right? I know, it's just such a badass ending. I love that series. And they just have, there's a lot of clarity that they had in how they talked about our political system. We're all inside of it, and so we're experiencing it differently, but it was so cool to watch that. It's a 5-part series, I believe. And at the end, just be like, wow, they nailed it. But yeah, that's really all we have for tonight, folks. Does anyone have any questions or just reflections at all after tonight? Lauren, Jeff, and I are happy to answer any questions for folks.
Hi, this is Claire. I have a question.
Hey, Claire. Yeah.
Hi. Yeah, I saw when the rabbi said that they've been doing this for 7 years and they're looked at as an annoyance. Does it become almost like the legislators are like, oh, here they are again, just humor them, and then they'll go away, and then nothing happens?
Can I answer that one, Andrea? I would say that we're not just an annoyance that they placate and let us go away, because that action that you saw at the very end was what got us in the room to talk to them at all, on the Senate side. But and they don't like seeing us coming. Already, we're not just an annoyance. We are trouble for them when we do a direct action. March on Harrisburg has had accomplishments in Harrisburg. We've actually, I wasn't here at the time, but March on Harrisburg was had a hand in making mail-in voting a thing. So when that law passed right before the pandemic, March on Harrisburg helped make that happen. So they don't just placate